All right, so today we're talking about, we're going to go through 4% questions to help review for the percent quiz that is coming tomorrow. So these are from the review sheet in your Foundations of Algebra book, page 282, the Chapter 7 test. So the first question, the first and second question are similar to each other. They're about estimating. So we're supposed to estimate 15% of $61.51. So there's two key numbers there. Now this concept first, we'll talk about this, of estimating. This does not mean we are solving for the exact number that is 15% of 6151. We are not doing this. The x over 6151, some number out of 6151 equals 15 out of 100. That is not what we are doing. That is solving it directly. What we are doing is we are estimating, meaning we should be able to use mental math. And that means we have the liberty to round some number. Okay, we can either round the percent or we can round the actual dollars. So in this case, I'm going to round the actual dollars because my percent 15 here is already a nice round number, right? When I say round, I mean any multiple of 5 usually works. So 10%, 5%, 20%, 35%. Those are numbers that are pretty simple to work with, as I'll show you in a second. But right now, 6151 is not very friendly to use. So I'm going to round this and say that this number, 6151, is approximately 60. I just rounded to $10. Or to the nearest $10, I should say. So this is approximately 60. So if I'm trying to figure out 15% of about $60, well, again, 15% is simply 10% and 5% added together, right? If you take 10% and then an extra 5%, that'll give you 15% in total. So 10% is the easiest one to do when discussing percentages because it's simply moving the decimal place to the left. So we should be able to move the decimal place to the left once, and 10% of 60 is simply 6. Well, 5% is half of 10%, which means that's going to be half of the 6, which is 3. And we get 6 plus 3, which is about 9. So it should be about $9. Now, you may say, well, it should be a little more or a little less. Well, it should be a little more because 6151 is a little bit more than the $60, right? So it should be a little more, but a $9 estimate is pretty good. Are there more ways of doing this question? Yes, because estimating gives you a lot of freedom, but I think that's the simplest way of doing it. And again, before doing an actual question, like if I just said solve this, I would recommend that you estimate it first. You say to yourself, oh, it should be around $9. So then if you end up with $9.32, well, that sounds reasonable, right? Whereas if you end up with, $17.04, that doesn't sound reasonable because it should be close to 9. Okay, so that's kind of where we use that. So the next one, I would say pause this first and see if you can do it yourself. It's a little different because, again, we can either round the percent or we can round the actual number or we can round both. It's up to you. So I'll show you two different methods on this one. But I would say try it first, pause it, and then hit play and see if I do it the same way. So now that you've paused it and tried it, this problem, I'm going to say you can either estimate it as 75%, right? That's really close to 76% of 48. And some of you may decide to say it's 75% of 50 because you rounded both. Both of these are fine. They both work. I think this one's easier because I'll show you in a second. So I'm going to stick with the top one. But if you did this bottom one, if you did this, you should still get an answer that's close. So just follow along and it should be close to mine. So why did I choose 75%? So this should remind you, again, think of money a lot when you're doing percents. This should remind you of 75 cents, which again is 3/4, right? 3/4, which we should be able to do pretty efficiently, okay? Because if I just take, well, let me keep that there. If I just take 1/4 of this, well, that's just simply dividing it by 4, right? 4 into 48, which will give you 12. So if 1/4 is worth 12, then I would have 3/4, which is just 12 plus 12 plus 12, which is 36. Or just 12 times 3, because there's 3/4. I think that's the fastest way to do it, is just to divide it into fourths, and then you have 3 of them. If you didn't think of doing that, again, you could have used the 10% strategy, right, which is doable. So let me show you the 10% strategy that I just did on the last one. So again, this is 10% plus 10% plus 10% plus 10%. That's 40, 50, 60. Running out of space. Whoopsies. So that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70%, and an extra 5. Well, what's 10% of 48? Let's round this up to 50 now. Because 10% is simply 5. Let me put the percent in so no one gets confused here. Percent, 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 percent. So we can agree this is 75%, right? I just broke it up. Well, this is just 5, because again, you move the decimal place once to the left, and you get 5.0, or just 5. So that's just 5. And this is 5. And this is 5. 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 Well, what's half of 5? Well, it should be 2.5, if I can squeeze that in there. 2.5. So I add all of these up, and I get, it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 35. And 2.5 more, which gives me about 37.5. Which is this close to my last answer? Well, my last answer was 3/4 of 48, or 3/4 of it, which I got to 6. Well, this is close to 36, right? I rounded it to 36. Those are similar answers. So again, it's another way of doing it. One estimate may be better than the other, but they're both close. So anyway, there's multiple options. Pick one of them, and it will work. All right. Let's do another one. So we're no longer estimating. And if you want to continue estimating, there's 2 more examples, 31 and 32, that you can continue practicing with that. All right, so on number 40, now we're solving. We're finding 350% of what number, so we're looking in particular for this, of what number is 21,000. So again, percent automatically means out of 100, so let's do that now. And then equals another ratio. So it says 350% of what number is 21,000. So when it's of what number, if you've heard me say in class, is over of is this thing that I say multiple times you've probably heard before, or part over whole. Well, the 21,000 is the part that is 350%. So this is actually going to be the numerator, because it is the part compared to the whole that we do not know. Right? So it's the part compared to the whole that we do not know. And we are solving. So let's think, let's use a little logic here. We want to solve for x. Since this fraction here, this ratio, since the numerator is bigger than the denominator, then in this case, the numerator should also be bigger than the denominator. So if you end up with like 30,000 for x, well, that can't be right because it's bigger over smaller, so it can't be smaller over bigger because then those would not be equal. So that's just kind of a little bit of a logic. I would say we should assume it's going to be, I don't know, 7,000, 6,000, something like that in that area, okay? Just using estimating. So how do we solve this instead of just estimating? Well, we're going to cross multiply. right? We're going to cross multiply. And we're going to get 350x equals 21,000 times 100. You just add 2 zeros, so it's 21,000. And then add 2 zeros, so that's 2.1 million. And we get 2.1 million divided by 350, which is about, oh, actually it's exact, check that out, 6,000. So I just typed that in a calculator, but you should be able to divide that. So you end up with 6,000, which is actually what I estimated it would be. So that seems like it's a reasonable answer to me. It's smaller than what we originally had, which again makes sense. It should be smaller than the numerator. So yeah, should be pretty doable there. Last problem. Find the percent of increase or decrease. So it could be either one. It's not both. That's impossible. So it's either one. We need to say which one it is. And it's going from 13 to 1. So first of all, is it increase or decrease? Well, it's going from 13 to 1, so it's clearly getting smaller, which means it's going to be a decrease. So it's going to be something percent decrease. So I've seen some students already start their box, and they just need to fill in a number here, right? They just need to figure out what that percent is. So how do we do that? We look at, again, what did it start with? Well, actually, we're going to have some ratio here. We're trying to find the percent. So again, x over 100, right? The percent means out of 100. We don't know what the percent is, so that's going to be the variable. The percent of decrease from 13 to 1. So the original number, which hopefully you realize is the 13, that's the original number. That's going to go in the denominator. And the change, how much did it change to get from 13 to 1? Well, it went down 12, right? It subtracted 12. So then we're going to cross multiply here, and we will go from there. So when you cross multiply, let me give us some space here. You're going to cross multiply. You're going to get, cross multiply there, 1200 equals 13x. And then you're going to divide both sides by 13. And you are going to get something. My calculator just turned off, and I will make this pretty straightforward. 1200 divided by 13 is 92.307692.3. Let's say you get this in a calculator, or you're dividing by hand and you end up with this number. I'm typically going to say round to the nearest hundredth place. So this 0 is either going to stay the same or go up to a 1. Well, since the number after it, the 7, is greater than or equal to 5, then it goes up. So we would say x is 92.31%. And there we go. But it's a 92.31% decrease. So this is why I put the box here in the first place. This is what your answer needs to be. To get full credit, it needs to say if it's an increase or decrease. If you just put this and you don't say which one it is, you won't get full credit because it's asking you to find the percent of increase or decrease. So it's asking you which one it is specifically. Okay? So when it goes down, make sure you put the decrease. When it goes up, make sure you put the increase. All right, well that's it. Those are your 4 questions. You have a quiz tomorrow. Again, I won't be there, so good luck. I hope this helped a little bit, and finish the rest of that review page. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.